Alright, hello and welcome to another video. In this video we're playing some Pyro. We're actually playing Pyro of Accuracy, which by the way, I do not recommend, but I just didn't have any way to fix my gear at the time. Over here playing Dwarf Malgus with a friend I haven't played with in a while. It's like, oh, there's games going on over here and whatnot. So for the most part, like most of the games I've had on DM have just been not that great. So much at range. On top of that, we've got a big old pre-made on an enemy team, or it'll be a known pre-made on an enemy team, and then every single pug will play with them, ending up to being just not to play. In this match, I haven't played Pyro in quite a while, so there are some mistakes, and there's definitely some DPS min-max I could do here, but it doesn't really matter too much because they eventually do just give up on trying to fight, and then also I'm a little too zoomed out, so my tab targeting is not working. I realized that I have a setting on this character that I turned off a long time ago, but I've really not turned off on this character, which is the camera panning thing. Basically, that detaches your camera from your character. Sometimes it's useful, but a lot of times it's not. And there are certain points where something will come into your field of view. So for example, as I'm turning my camera, I can see the cannon, like, getting ready to fire or whatever. That existing can actually break my line of sight. Believe it or not, it's not cool, it's not fun, and unless I have a predetermined target at the time, I actually cannot tab target. So definitely don't have that on most of the time. It's not worth it. Sometimes it can be useful. If I zoomed in more, it wouldn't be much of a big deal, but if you like to play top down zoomed out, definitely don't recommend it. And also at the same time, it does make it really hard when you go into those tight areas. If you play like that, you won't be able to see shit. So it's a double-edged sword. I don't understand why the game is like this. There's a lot of terrain that happen to be like above your character. It can cut your line of sight. I wish they would just remove that, make those hollow, or just make them see-through or something. That way we don't have to worry about that, and we can just play the way that we want to. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. I don't think that'll ever be changed, so do try to pay attention to that if you notice that you have that happening a lot. Especially if you're trying to tab and it's just not working. It's not that it's not working, it's that you just can't see anybody. It's just because it's based off of your head. Not where your camera actually is. So there's a wire in Civil War. I've explained and showcased this quite a few times, but that wire in Civil War can actually break your line of sight. That's why I hate playing them most. And in my last pre-made video versus pre-made, you'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll see how I changed my camera to be basically the way it is now, just so I can actually target the enemy. You'll also see me kind of like standing there a couple times if you pay like really good attention. This is me trying to tab target, but I can't tab target because my line of sight is being broken by the wire, which kind of sucks. And you can also reproduce it by yourself by playing semi top down. And just for future reference too, if you have tanky targets that you need to take down and you're playing like range, this is definitely something you can abuse. So the more you know. If you're range, it's a great thing to abuse. If you're not range, fun. It's really annoying. Good luck tab targeting. And for the most of this game, we're just kind of like parsing on healers and kind of just wondering why they gave up when they have 2 tanks and 2 healers and arsenal. They have everything they need to possibly win the team fight, but because they give up instead of coming back, they pretty much never did, which is super unfortunate for them. And it had me excited for a minute there, and then I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly how it goes. Back to Star Wars for me, you know. This is basically what it is. So for you just never see 2 tanks and 2 heals very often, not unless you see like 4 really good DPS, but it's very rare. And for those that are wondering, I'm running the crit tactical, the one that got nerfed at this time, so I don't have anything else. Again, I'm running accuracy too, so I am not optimized whatsoever, and I'm playing with 200-ish MS. It's usually about 185, 200. My spikes, thankfully, aren't as bad, so I was actually able to play pretty well today. Sometimes I'll have like really big spikes where I'll go 300 or something. We got like micro stutters, people with desync in place. It's not fun playing melee over here, but today it was pretty good. People aren't too desyncy, and for the most part, the only reason I wasn't playing AP was because we didn't have a tank before this. We just happened to run into a tank as we were playing, which made this a lot more fun. Because AP just gets quite tunneled, especially since there's a lot of people that actually play Arsenal and Deception on this server. Definitely kind of scary burst wise, at least for PT. That is, because during low slash, obviously they're going to hit the white damage, and if an Arsenal player times that with a low slash, pretty much not dodging the priming shot. That's terrifying. That's what pretty much gets you killed. Same for all shot, but it's mostly priming shot for the most part. And in this situation, it's kind of like, man, if I had a tank, I could go against my team. Ooh, it'd be so much fun. Especially if you're like, let's say like a shadow tank and a pyro PT just come into this big old cleave here. Got your AoE taunt, get your AoE decorating volts with the percent heal. Trying to think. So with pyro too, and you have the reduced cooldown on the AoE taunt, so you're able to, if they start tank tunneling or he's taking too much damage, you can taunt instead. So nice. Especially during defensives, like you taunting is probably better to do. So you can just overlap his taunt and he'll still get the heals. It's kind of crazy. I really want to play more games where people are actually just team fighting, but it's definitely an issue anymore. There's either just not a tank, or there's not enough healing going on. Like there's not enough healers, so you kind of run into the issue of just not getting those games. They're way too rare. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I upload a healer game. Does that mean everybody will play healers? Which, by the way, I played a couple of healing games. I had a 20k game where highest damage was like 11, 12k. It was very, very boring. Everybody was clumped up, and I'm like, man, I wish I was DPS. And yeah, that was just a very, very boring, no damage game. And I honestly don't really know too much of what I'm doing anymore with sword kills. It's been a while, but for the most part, it's not incredibly hard. Obviously, against other groups, you're probably going to have a guard, so it's not going to be as bad. And if not, there are people definitely willing to tank. So for those people that are interested in healing, you know, even like mercenary is not a bad choice because it's very durable. But there definitely should be more healers in general. One thing that I talked about with Ivano is like, really, it's the burst healing that is an issue. HPS is not equal to DPS. Back in 5.0, HPS versus DPS, HPS was almost double what DPS could do. Now it's kind of like even, to the point where sometimes healers were going to be, on average, just beat by raw DPS on single target, which is pretty sad. That means they really haven't received as much buffs as DPS has had, basically, in recent years. On top of that, they gained a lot of AoE in 6.0 and then a lot of AoE in 7.0. And new ways to burst and have more uptime on the burst, while healers don't have more uptime on the burst, and they don't really have new ways to deal with the new AoE either. So having like a new AoE that would help with AoE burst, and then having like a new burst heal just in general, would probably help a lot. Of course, it's going to increase the HPS for the healer, but for the most part, it's going to allow it to answer to a lot of those problems that currently are an issue. And no, you should not be able to solo a healer. It just should not happen. It should always take at least 2 DPS. And whoever really has a problem with that, honestly, you're just killing the game. The game is so much less fun than what it used to be. And the main reason for that is the fact that you can queue so many people. On top of that, healers basically do nothing. When only like 1 or 2 good healers can only mitigate 1 to 2 DPS, there's a severe problem. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys again soon, maybe.